So guys, here it is, the brand new M5 iPad Pro, although I do feel like that might be a bit of an overstatement since this seems to be a very incremental upgrade from the M4 model. I mean, there was no event at all, just a quiet press release in Apple's newsroom, and that's it. Nevertheless, there are some changes and upgrades, and I have to admit that at least one upgrade really does seem very useful to me personally, but whether that's enough of a reason to upgrade from the M4 or even from one of the previous silicon models, I'm not so sure. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like they want some.
So this time I went for the silver model. I've always been Team Space Gray and Space Black, but this time I chose the silver color because I really love the way the silver looks on the new iPhone 17 Pro Max. I know every single YouTuber is salivating over the orange, but honestly, I'm not feeling it. The silver looks way more elegant in my opinion, and I think the combination of a silver iPad with that silver iPhone is gonna look sick. A little fun fact is that you can actually tell the color of the iPad by looking at the color of the writing on the box, which in our case is of course silver. Alright, let's unbox this thing. I kind of already know what's going to be inside, and since I'm in Europe, what isn't going to be inside, because we do not get a charging brick included anymore. Not that it matters, because let's be honest, most of us have plenty of those laying around anyway, and the one that does ship with the US version of the iPad is only 20 watts anyway, which means it wouldn't be enough for the new fast charging feature, but we'll get back to that in a second. I still do really enjoy unboxing these things. There's just something about peeling off that first layer of crisp paper to find a fresh new piece of tech. And I can assure you, ladies and gents, this iPad will never look this clean ever again. And I do really like that color. Silver is, I don't know, it's just timeless. And of course, one added benefit of the silver is that it doesn't smudge nearly as much as the darker colors. I have the M4 here for reference. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this is a schmutz magnet. And on this one, I think you can do whatever you want. You won't see any fingerprints, which to me is a very, very nice extra. And as expected, we don't have a charging brick. We do have this little braided cable, which is always nice to have, but I think I have plenty of cables over there, so this is probably going to stay in the box until we sell it or pass it on. In here, there will most likely not be any stickers. There haven't been stickers in years, so I don't expect any changes there. And that's it. Just the iPad. Now, of course, I have this here to compare the color and the size, which should be the exact same. We can weigh it actually really quick. The M4 has a Paperlike 3 screen protector on it, so it might be a gram or so heavier. All right, so here we have the new iPad M5, 497 grams, the scale says, and the old one, 1 year old one is 506 grams, so I guess the screen protector is a slight bit heavier. Anyway, roughly the same. Or maybe the M4 is just heavier because it's got a bunch of apps installed. Little dad joke. Anyway, I went for the 512 gigabyte version. You can see this on the back. And that does mean I did not have the option to choose the nano textured glass, but honestly I don't really care about that because I will apply one of the new Paperlike 3 screen protectors on this thing anyway. And guys, whatever iPad you end up going with, whether you upgrade to the M5 Pro or you'd rather stick with what you have, it is always a good idea to apply a fresh screen protector, and Paperlike has been my favorite since day one. In fact, the very first video on this channel was on how to apply a Paperlike. Fast forward to 2025 and we're here on Paperlike 3 already, and this is one substantial upgrade in terms of the application process. I mean, it's not like it was very difficult before, but with this new butterfly application, they just made it even easier. It basically eliminates the three main causes of a failed install: dust, which causes those annoying bubbles, misalignment, and unclear instructions. You just scan the QR code and everything is laid out for you. The butterfly system keeps the iPad sealed until you start the application, so no new dust can settle on the screen, and it keeps the Paperlike locked in position. The helper tool gives you this flawless alignment, but it also slides the layers, it cleans the screen, and it is used to push out any air bubbles that might be left. Once it's done, you end up with that perfect friction for your Apple Pencil, just like a sheet of paper created by those nano dots. And my favorite secondary benefit way less glare, and no more disgusting fingerprints. For me, Paperlike is still the way to go, and if it does get scratched up over time, you just apply a fresh one because every order comes with 2 screen protectors. If you want to pick some up for yourself, there will be links in the description below the video. Okay, so meanwhile, I went ahead and set up the iPad really quick. I did a fresh install, no transfers from my M4 iPad. That would have taken a bit too long for this video, and I do like to start fresh every now and then. It gives me the opportunity to assess which apps I'm actually using, rather than just blindly copying everything over from my old iPad. So like I said, I went for the lower end model, and that does mean you're not getting those very top of the line features. For instance, you still get the 9-core CPU with 3 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores, albeit with the new and improved M5 chip, of course, as opposed to a 10-core CPU on the higher end models. Now, do I need that extra core? No. Do you? Probably not. And if you're one of those users that actually does benefit from the extra horsepower, you already know that you do, and you don't need me to tell you that. Both the lower end and the higher end models do have some improvements over the M4 iPad Pro though. To start off, the M4 models come with Wi-Fi 7. Now, I happen to have stupidly fast 10GB Ethernet fiber here in the office, and I have a Wi-Fi 7 router set up as well. So let's do a quick little speed test to see whether there's really a noticeable speed difference. And I know it's not just speed, but also improved connectivity on Wi-Fi 7. But yeah, let's have a little test anyway. All right, so here we go with the brand new M5 iPad Pro with Wi-Fi 7, and let's see what results we get here in the office. Should be pretty good. Actually, that's not good at all. Interesting. I mean, these aren't bad speeds by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, for what we have here in the office, this should be way better. Okay, let's try this one. Even worse. It's weird. I'm gonna run it again on this one too, just to be sure that we are not getting any weird readings. Run it on both devices, starting off with the M5 again. It's a little better. This is what it's supposed to be like. Over 1,000. It's still not what it should be, but it's a lot better than the previous test. Upload speeds are really good, which is very important for me as a YouTuber. I want to get these videos to you guys quickly. Now, on the M4, same test, same app. And you can see that it is significantly slower, almost too slow, which is very strange. Uploads are pretty good. So there you have it. The internet on this thing combined with my router, with my Wi-Fi 7 router, seems to be much better, at least on the M5 iPad Pro. There is a clear difference in download speed specifically. The upload seems to be the same, but it's more than twice as fast on the M5 model. The M5 models also feature neural accelerators, and those are basically specialized parts of the chip that are designed to handle machine learning tasks really efficiently. In other words, they help speed up things like image recognition, on-device AI features, or even stuff like real-time photo enhancements. Basically, it's there to make all the smart features feel a bit snappier and more responsive. Another upgrade that will probably be a bit more useful to most of us is the fact that the base RAM has been bumped up to 12 gigabytes. And more RAM is always a good thing, of course. The higher end models still max out at 16 gigabytes, just like the M4 model, so the bump in RAM is definitely a win for the lower end models, and good news if you're looking to upgrade but you don't want to sell a kidney for a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte model. The M5 iPad Pro does come with a nice bump in memory bandwidth as well, 153 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth versus 120 gigabytes per second on the M4. What that really means in day-to-day terms is that the device can move data to and from the memory faster. So if you're working with large files, or you're doing some heavy multitasking, or maybe editing big video projects, that's where the extra memory bandwidth will help with everything feeling a bit smoother and more responsive. And that might actually come in handy, because one of the things I do plan to do on this thing a bit more than I used to in the past is editing on the iPad Pro, specifically on Final Cut Pro. Now, obviously I don't have it installed yet on the M5, but it will look the exact same as the M4. And I kind of dismissed this app when it first came out, out because it was lacking a lot of features, but it's come a long way since. And while it will obviously not be the full experience like you would see on a Mac, I do believe it might be useful to start and edit on the iPad and then hand it off to my Mac for heavier stuff later. I do shoot a lot of multicam stuff, I mean, case in point, this video, and the iPad Pro version has a really nice looking interface for that now. So if I would load up 4 different video streams, then I would have these 4 here lined up, and all I would have to do then is switch between the video streams like you basically see in an editing room. You can just switch angles as the timeline progresses, and you can basically just cut up your video within a couple of minutes, which is really awesome. And I do think that this interface is particularly useful for that. I do it on my Mac as well, and it's okay, but this is one of the few things I actually prefer, the interface at least, on the iPad. So I am really looking forward to using this app a little bit more and some other apps, and hopefully I will be able to make use of that extra horsepower on the M5 iPad Pro to have everything feel a little bit snappier and less laggy. The live drawing feature is also something I want to look into that I think is a very cool feature that you obviously don't have, or at least not like this, on the Mac version, where you can actually draw straight on to the video clip and then have it play back later, and you can see it in real time. And I'm sure we will be seeing a lot of updates. I mean, that's very cool. And those are just neat little tricks that I want to get into a little bit. So yeah, I will definitely be spending some more time on the iPad again. And like I said, these are the kinds of apps that will probably benefit from the spec bumps we see in the new M5 iPad Pro. Now, one of the big ones for me personally is that these new models now feature fast charging. So as long as you're using a charger or a battery bank with enough output, so that means not the 20-watt charger that comes with it, but a better one, on paper, you would be able to charge your iPad halfway full in about half an hour. And when you travel a lot like I do, that is actually very, very useful. What is also good, or maybe not so good, depending on, how much you crave new hardware, for me it's a good thing anyway, is that the Magic Keyboard still works perfectly with the new M5 iPad Pro. Everything fits just the same and it starts working immediately, so there's no need to upgrade to a new to yet again another Magic Keyboard. And the same should be true for the Apple Pencil Pro, and as you can see, it recognizes it straight away, and yep, everything works as you would expect. Now, the main issue I have with these past couple of upgrade cycles still remains, and that is that the hardware keeps getting better and better, but the software still lags behind. Yes, we saw some pretty notable upgrades in iPadOS 26. We have actual floating windows now, and semi-real multitasking, and I do say semi because you can't really fully multitask like you would on a Mac. For instance, I can't have a YouTube video running and then listen to music at the same time. The audio will conflict, so that's just not possible. I wish it was, but for the moment that's not a thing. And I don't think we need to even talk about Apple Intelligence, which is still painfully absent for the most part. I still look forward to Siri actually becoming a useful assistant one day, but as of today, she's still a little bit dim. So guys, the big question, should you upgrade? My opinion, probably not. Sure, the little spec bumps are nice, but considering how most of us use our iPads, I don't think that it will make much of a difference in our everyday use. So if you own any of the silicon chip iPads really, and you're happy with how it performs for you on a day-to-day basis, I would keep my money and wait for a more substantial upgrade. If you are part of that small group of users that actually benefits from one or more of the upgrades, you already know this, and like I said, you don't need me to tell you that. Now, comparing these iPad Pros side by side isn't really exciting to me these days because they pretty much are all fantastic pieces of hardware with only minor differences. What I'm much more interested in is how they stack up to the competition. Samsung just sent me their Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra to check out, so if you want to see a comparison between these two flagship models, which I personally find way more interesting, be sure to subscribe and please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. It really does go a long way. Thank you for watching and see you guys in the next one.